Hey guys, it's Mr. B. In this video, I'm going to talk about the um, sketch assignments that are due around midterm. So for the full quarter of art, you're going to get a sketch assignment sheet. You need to pick two of these options, and you will draw two of the three. One of them should be done in color. So option number one is free choice. Free choice, you can draw whatever you want as long as it's school appropriate. Just remember my tips to get a good grade on every sketch. Use the whole page, add detail, add a background, color if you have time. Uh, Always use white paper. Um, all of those options, adding detail, adding color, all those things show me that you really cared about and thought about what you were drawing. So for free choice especially, whatever you can do to make it a more complete drawing is going to benefit you. Option number two is called straw cab. And this one you got to think about just a little bit, but if you woke up one morning and found that your world was completely backwards, and this doesn't mean that the world is turned around backwards or uh, that everyone is walking backwards. It basically means what if you woke up and the world was opposite of the way it was, or what would the opposite you be like? Um, so if the world has gone crazy, what would you have to do to fit in, to be a part of this backwards world, or be a backwards version of yourself? Um, if you're a great student, maybe you have to become a class clown. If you're a good athlete, maybe the backwards you would be kind of lazy, laying around playing video games and eating potato chips. Um, maybe the lazy potato chip eating video game playing you would become a great athlete. Um, you know, Maybe you could care less about Uggs, and now all you're saying is, "I wish I had some Uggs." In any case, think about what the backwards version of yourself would be like. The only thing I really don't want you to do for this one is draw yourself with backward clothes. So here's crisscross. They were a big hit in the 1990s when I was a kid. Um, don't draw yourself with backward clothes. That's not what this assignment is asking you to do. And here's another backward clothing picture. Do not draw yourself with backwards clothes. The goal here is to imagine a backwards version of yourself, an opposite version of you. So please, just don't draw yourself backwards. Just a couple of things people have thought of in the past for this one. I had a girl a couple years ago who didn't feel like she was a very good athlete, and so for her, she drew herself. Uh, it was actually Mr. King's whiteboard in the gym, and it had a list of all the presidential fitness test, participants, all the kids that participated, and her name was at the top of every list, and she just kind of drew the whiteboard and then the kids standing and looking at it. So that was a cool way for her to show the backwards version of herself would be, a fantastic athlete. Um, I had a girl a couple years ago that was short and blonde, and so she drew her backward self as a really tall boy. So there are a lot of ways you can go with it, but I want you to really think about what the opposite version of you would be, and that's what the goal of this drawing is. Not someone walking backwards, not someone wearing backwards clothes. And then the last option is for you to draw a dream room, and there are a couple ways you can draw it. Some people draw it where, well, let me talk about what the actual assignment is. The idea for this one is if you could have whatever you wanted in your room, draw that room. I don't care how big it is. I don't care if it's small. Uh, what I want you to really focus on is what would you want to have in that room? What would be most important to you if you could have whatever you wanted in your room? Now the key here is don't draw me something that looks like this, where it's just a bunch of boxes. Uh, Also, don't draw me a bunch of rectangles and squares that you just write words inside of. Bed, couch, dresser. Try to draw the actual things. It's a drawing assignment, and I'm pretty good at being able to tell at this point what everybody's going for when they try to draw something. So don't feel self-conscious. Don't feel like you can't attempt to draw, a small couch or a dresser with a lamp on it. I'd rather have you try than just write a word and have an arrow pointing to something. Um, Here's just a couple of examples of what I'm really thinking of here. If you draw it looking into the room, it's no big deal. You would just draw the objects as you would see them sitting in your own room or wherever you are right now. The other option is to do a bird's eye view, and here's a couple of bird's eye view examples. Um, this one's actually somebody mapped out the apartments on Big Bang Theory. And then here's this other one. So again, try to draw the actual things you would have in the room. Don't just label stuff. And bird's eye view is a good way you can show kind of the layout of what your dream home would look like. So that's it for these. Just remember, do 2 of the 3. One of them should be done in color. And if you have any questions, just see me in class. I'll see you guys at school.